Welcome back to Critical Storytelling, where it's not about me telling my story, but helping you tell yours. In the last couple videos, we've talked about the framed narrative as a literary device to provide structure, create authority, and automatic intrigue for the reader or the listener. And we started out with Samuel Taylor Coleridge, Rime of the Ancient Mariner, as an example of a well done framed narrative, and we left off with the wedding guest choosing to hear the mariner's story rather than attend the merriment of a wedding party, the dancing, the feast. Coleridge says he cannot choose but hear. And we're going to finish part 1 today, and this is the beginning of the tale as the mariner tells it. The ship was cheered, the harbor cleared, merrily did we drop, below the kirk, below the hill, below the lighthouse top. The sun came up upon the left, out of the sea came he, and he shone bright, and on the right went down into the sea. Higher and higher every day, till over the mast at noon, the wedding guest, he beat his breast, for he heard the loud bassoon. The bride hath paced into the hall, red as a rose is she, nodding their heads before her goes the merry minstrelsy. The wedding guest, he beat his breast, yet he cannot choose but hear, and thus spake on that ancient man, the bright-eyed mariner. And now the storm blast came, and he was tyrannous and strong. He struck with his overtaking wings, and chased us south along. With sloping masts and dipping prow, as who pursued with yell and blow, still treads the shadow of his foe, and forward bends his head. The ship drove fast, loud roared the blast, and southward we fled. And now there came both mist and snow, and it grew wondrous cold, and ice, mast high, came floating by, as green as emerald. And through the drifts the snowy cliffs did send a dismal sheen, nor shapes of men nor beasts we ken, the ice was all between. The ice was here, the ice was there, the ice was all around. It cracked and growled and roared and howled like noises in a swoon. At length did cross an albatross, through the fog it came, as if it had been a Christian soul, we hailed it in God's name. It ate the food it ne'er had eat, and round it flew. The ice did split with a thunder fit, the helmsman steered us through. And a good south wind sprung up behind, the albatross did follow, and every day for food or play came to the mariner's hollow. In mist or cloud, on mast or shroud, it perched for vespers 9, whiles all the night through fog smoke white glimmered the white moonshine. God save thee, ancient mariner, from the fiends that plague thee thus. Why lookest thou so? With my crossbow I shot the albatross. So, the last line, with my crossbow I shot the albatross, well, let's back up. The narrative is going back and forth between the moment in time where they're at the wedding and the moment in the story. The music, the bride, the dancing, those are all sensory tools that Coleridge is using to pull the reader out away from the story that he's trying to tell, but it's reinforcing the intrigue of the mariner story to say, I mean, there's all this merriment going on in one moment, and then in another moment there is the absolute tragedy of killing this perfectly innocent sent by God bird that everyone on the ship looks forward to having as part of their day. You can imagine that it's pretty lonely and dismal out on the sea after a storm like that. And I guess it's also why the reader might see why the story becomes a blessing for the wedding guest, that it's true he may be missing out in this very moment on something that's exciting and joyful, but whatever caused the mariner to do this, he's telling the story now, and we will get to finish it, but there's a contrast between that moment, the moment at the wedding, and the moment just after the storm, when he's done this senseless act of killing the albatross, which is usually a sign of luck, and it doesn't really make any sense, but we as readers definitely want to know why it happened and what has brought the mariner around full circle to come to tell his tale. So we will finish, or we'll continue on the next video with part 2 of Rime of the Ancient Mariner on critical storytelling. Thank you.